Hello, my name is Michaela. I am doing a video on some of the struggles that wheelchair users face. There's a lot of issues out there that a lot of people don't know about only because they're not in that situation themselves. So I thought I would do a video to highlight some of those issues and kind of poke fun at the problems that are out there and hope to give you a good laugh while also informing you on some of the problems that are a part of our world. I hope you enjoy. One of the first issues that is out there for wheelchair users is the location of handicap spots in relation to the doors to buildings they intend to enter. A lot of people don't need to use a handicap spot, so they don't pay attention to them. However, if you're in a wheelchair or you help somebody who is, handicap spots are something that you deal with all the time, and oftentimes there aren't enough for everybody that needs to use them, so you're forced to park further back in the parking lot. The clip that you've been watching is meant to show that no matter where you park in the parking lot, to a wheelchair user, if you're not in a handicap spot, it feels like you're wheeling forever and ever to get to the door and you're just never going to get there. So problem number 2 happens to be a little bit funnier, but all the more frustrating. When you go somewhere to do something adventurous outside and just be a normal person, being in a wheelchair can offer struggles, especially if the outdoor activity you want to do is not designed or set up specifically for wheelchair users. In this instance, they did in fact make sure there's a handicap spot to park in, and they did in fact make sure there's a handicap ramp. However, the only problem is none of it is paved until you get to the actual path. Anybody in a wheelchair can tell you that makes it nearly impossible to get anywhere. If you're trying to wheel through gravel or dirt or snow, it's nearly impossible to make the wheelchair go where you want it to go. So here's a pretty hilarious clip of myself trying to work my way down to the path without falling out of the wheelchair or hurting myself. Enjoy! The third problem has to deal with sidewalks and the impending cracks that always plague sidewalks. I know myself as a walking human being trips over those cracks all on my own without any help. I can't even imagine what it would be like for a wheelchair user to have to maneuver these cracks. The video that's playing right now is a portrayal of one particular crack that I've come across that is bigger and deeper than some of the other ones I've seen, and these are the ones that tend to be the most dangerous. Please enjoy as I portray to you what does happen when wheelchair users come across these cracks and how potentially dangerous they can be. I guess one bonus would be you get some air when you hit the crack in a wheelchair, but I'm not so sure how wheelchair users feel about that, nearly being launched out of their chairs. Issue number 4. Door widths. A lot of times older buildings were not built to accommodate a wheelchair or even a walker for those who need assistance with walking and getting around. And ADA accessibility does not require those buildings to go back and fix the doorways so that they can accommodate wheelchairs. This particular doorway is not actually that old. It's only about 16 years old, and it still does not fit a wheelchair, and it also does not fit a walker without having to turn sideways and walk through the door sideways. The final problem that a lot of people don't talk about and don't know about is the issue of finances. There is insurance out there that will help cover things, but 9 times out of 10, they won't cover all of it, or they may not even cover any of it. And if you're in a wheelchair or you require the use of a wheelchair, chances are there are other financial things going on in your life that are causing issues with paying for the wheelchair or paying for healthcare expenses. And then on top of that, if something breaks on the wheelchair, you are left holding the bag, figuring out how you're going to pay to fix it. So there's an unspoken issue regarding paying for things when you're in a wheelchair and the ability to support yourself financially, causing hardships, stress, and difficulties supporting normal living habits. Struggling with finances because of healthcare issues causes ripples through every part of a person's life. It can force them to eat not healthy things like top ramen. It could force them not to be able to eat at all. It could force them not to be able to pay for school or to have a car, or just basic needs that have to be met can be obstructed by financial struggle.